Welcome to Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, where we discuss innovative solutions delivered by our members at Supply Chain Partners. Our members can help you to build a high-performing business and supply chain. I'm Dr. Sharyn Grant, the founder of Supply Chain Partners. I've worked in the logistics and supply chain management field for over 20 years, and I specialise in strategic supply chain performance management. Let's now introduce you to our member. With us today is Josh Saunders and Stewart Flecknoe-Brown, the directors of Logmaster Australia. Logmaster is a technology company that is accredited by the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator. Logmaster specialises in electronic work diary and compliance management systems for the trucking and transport industry. Welcome, Josh and Stewart. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. Great to be here.
Thanks, Sharyn. It's good to be here.
Today's episode is about managing driver fatigue compliance. Driver fatigue management is a significant safety responsibility in the trucking and transport industry. Stewart, how significant is driver fatigue in the road transport industry, and what causes driver fatigue?
Unfortunately, driver fatigue is the single largest cause of truck driver deaths in Australia. It's a significant safety issue for the road transport industry. Driver fatigue is mainly caused by not having enough sleep, driving when you should be asleep, such as driving at night, working really long hours, being awake for a long time, and doing the same thing for a long time. A driver must not drive a fatigue-regulated heavy vehicle on a road while impaired by fatigue.
Thanks, Stewart. What is a fatigue-regulated heavy vehicle?
So fatigue-regulated heavy vehicles include a vehicle with a gross vehicle mass of over 12 tonnes, or a combination when the total of the GVM is over 12 tonnes. Includes buses with a GVM over 4.5 tonnes, fitted to carry more than 12 adults, or a truck or a combination including a truck with a GVM over 12 tonnes with a machine or implement attached.
Thanks, Stewart. Driving heavy vehicles safely is a significant responsibility. Josh, how does a driver know when they are fatigued?
So a driver may know they're fatigued if they're yawning excessively, or they're nodding their head, or maybe they start to get a bit of blurred vision. They can find it difficult to concentrate, increase the chance of them making mistakes if they're not alert and they find it difficult to keep their eyes open. Fatigue drivers can experience drowsiness or have micro sleeps or even fall asleep. It's important to note that drivers are responsible for identifying when they are fatigued so that they can take a break.
Thanks, Josh. So how does fatigue impact on the driver's driving ability?
Look, when a driver's fatigued, this impacts on their ability to drive safely and responsibly. They may drift their vehicle to the wrong side of the road and not keep to their lane. They can find it difficult to maintain a constant speed. They can also find it difficult to stop the vehicle and overshoot stopping at the line. They can easily miss road signs and directions. They may have experienced poor gear changes, harsh braking and cornering, those sorts of things. They can be involved in near-miss incidents or even involved in fatal accidents causing harm to themselves and others.
Thanks, Josh. Are there laws that cover when transport industry drivers should work and rest?
Yes, absolutely. So the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator driver fatigue laws apply to all fatigue-regulated heavy vehicles. That law covers all aspects of work and rest relating to heavy vehicles, and it includes your chain of responsibility, counting of time, your fatigue management exemptions, your record-keeping requirements, the work and rest hours, and keeping a written or electronic work diary.
Thanks, Josh. You've mentioned several record-keeping requirements related to driving heavy vehicles. What has traditionally been the standard way to maintain record-keeping requirements and to record work and rest hours and maintain a work diary?
Sure. So a heavy vehicle operator needs to maintain a workbook. Traditionally, it's been a manual paper-based work diary we call a logbook. Drivers are not allowed to drive or work more than the maximum work hours or rest less than the minimum rest hours in a certain period set out by the laws. All those records must be kept for 3 years after they're created and kept at a location accessible to the authorized officer for audit and investigation purposes. They have to be kept in a format that's readable and reasonably assumed it will be readable in at least 3 years from the date of its creation.
Thanks, Josh. That's quite a manual process. What are the key challenges associated with manual record-keeping processes for driver fatigue compliance?
There's quite a lot. From a record keeper's perspective, they're taking in, reams and reams of paper, work and rest sheets from their fleet drivers. They then have to manually input that information into whatever system they're using to keep those records. And from a driver's perspective, they're spending a lot of time filling in these workbooks. They need to keep a ruler with them so they can be drawing straight lines. They need to be recording 15-minute intervals, their breaks, and where they start, where they stop, how long they rest for, all of those kind of things. So it is a very manual process.
Thanks, Josh. You've mentioned quite a few challenges associated with manual record keeping. Who is responsible for driver fatigue compliance record keeping?
Sure. There's a few parties that are responsible. So on the driver's side, it's the driver creating his work and rest logs in his written work diary. And in the office side, it's the record keeper. So the record keeper has to be taking in this information and storing it securely.
Thanks, Josh. Stewart, I understand that audit time can be a stressful process for transport companies. What does the audit process entail for driver fatigue compliance? And how does the manual record keeping process impact the audit?
The best way to reduce stress before and during an audit is actually to try and have a system where you're always compliant and you're always improving. That way, as an audit's coming up, you know that you've been doing the best under the circumstances that can be done, improving how you do things and being ready all the time for something real to happen in the business. Getting through an audit is showing an auditor what you've been doing and how that improves the safety performance of the business, how you're hearing from or learning what the drivers are really doing, and how you're improving the management overall with the aim of operating safely.
Thanks, Stewart. The manual audit process sounds very time-consuming and frustrating. I'm keen to understand how Logmaster technology has been able to help drivers, record keepers, transport companies, and business owners to improve how they manage driver fatigue compliance. Josh, could you please provide one or two real-life examples?
Yeah, absolutely. One client that springs to mind in far north Queensland, he runs a few different businesses and he had a dedicated staff member on doing all the fatigue compliance and driver compliance for his business. But because he works remotely, he felt detached from the process and felt like he wasn't involved in what was going on there, and he felt it was a bit hard to manage. And after he met with us and saw how our system works and what it's able to do for him, he's actually moved that specific staff member onto other things, and he's taken on the role of record keeper himself, which he can do remotely. The other benefits that he mentioned that were pretty important to him is the fact that the driver no longer needs to jump in their vehicle and go to the office and hand in their sheets. So drivers are seeing that as a huge benefit as well. The other thing that this particular client really appreciates is the fact that he can jump in and see his drivers fit to drive pre-starts and vehicle maintenance checks on the fly wherever he is on his mobile phone. He doesn't need to be in the office looking at a certain thing to be able to see this information that he needs. He can simply log in on his mobile phone or his tablet, wherever he is, and check to see that his drivers are okay and that they're submitting what they need to every day.
Thanks, Josh. That's a great example. Stewart, what would be a key lesson you have learned that could help transport companies to improve how they manage driver fatigue compliance?
There's a lot of expertise on how to get it right and what the rules are in the transport industry. A lot of really great people that are doing their job well. What people are looking for is a way to reduce wasted time and to reduce the clerical work, copying and pasting, transcribing information, recompiling the same information that could flow through with automation. So there's a real appetite for people that know their work to get better tools and to get the automation that they expect from normal life in the current age. Another thing about bringing improvement into the business is making sure that, when you've made a significant jump in the way that things are done, that you're looking after the staff that have to execute that new plan or to use those new tools. Make sure that people get through the change and benefit from it, and then you won't look back.
Thanks, Stewart. They are great lessons. Josh, could you please explain how your Logmaster technology works?
Yeah, sure. So to break it down, there's three major parts to our electronic work diary. You've got the Logmaster Australia mobile application. So that works on any Android or Apple device. It could be the driver's phone. It could be a tablet inside the truck. You've also got the driver's web portal where they can log in, see all of their data in there and send it to whoever it needs to see it. And then you've got the record keeper portal. So that is the admin person at the business's portal where all the information that's entered into the mobile application flows through in really easy to use formats, basically. So the drivers are out in their trucks all day, entering their work and rest events, submitting their fit to drive declarations and their vehicle maintenance checks, and all of that information is flowing through in real time straight through to the record keeper. So no longer do they have to get a pen and paper out, record their work and rest events, and then drop that hard copy into the office. So the mobile app works even in low and no network coverage areas as well. So it doesn't matter where you are driving, that system is picking up your data for you and beaming it straight back to the office.
Thanks, Josh. So how does Logmaster help truck drivers and heavy vehicle drivers to manage fatigue compliance?
So rather than them having to remember their work and rest times and when they need to pull up for a break and how long they have to have a break for and what shifts they can and can't accept from their employer, it's all right there in their smartphone or tablet. You log in and it's going to give you a timer of how long you've got to drive before you need to have a rest. It's going to show you statistics on your work and rest events and the rules that you need to stick to without you having to remember pages and pages of regulated rule sets. It's as simple as logging in, telling the system you're working, and then the system is going to tell you when you need to take a break, and it's going to give you the prompts and reminders to ensure that you don't break your fatigue regulations and risk a breach and a fine potentially. No more paper in your cabin, no more having to drop it into the office. The mobile app just makes it really, really simple for drivers to stay compliant.
Thanks, Josh. Sounds like an excellent way to save time and money. Stewart, how does Logmaster help record keepers to manage fatigue compliance?
So with Logmaster, record keepers can easily prepare for safety and compliance audits. With exportable reports, they can stay up to date and show that they've been staying up to date with the driver license and vehicle registration renewals and smart expiry alerts. They can see real-time data on driver fitness and vehicle pre-start inspection declarations. Paperwork diary log sheets can be entered into the system and check for breaches and fatigue breach alerts for your entire fleet. So by showing that during an audit, they can show that they've been working more effectively and efficiently across the board. And that's all been done through the cloud with less wasted time.
Thanks, Stewart. That's an excellent way to increase the efficiency of record keeping requirements. Josh, how does Logmaster help transport companies to manage fatigue compliance?
Sure. So Logmaster helps transport businesses in many ways. I guess one of the big things is that cost to entry. A lot of business owners think that installing new and advanced systems might come with a huge price tag. So with Logmaster, you don't need to go and buy any specific hardware. Generally, if you've got a truck that's active, you're going to have some kind of tech in there, be it a tablet that's helping your drivers with their route optimization, or it might even be a driver's phone that's being used on it. So that's just one point. You don't need to go and buy expensive hardware to put in every one of your trucks to have the ability to use this technology. In a lot of cases, a mobile phone is plenty to get the job done well. We find it definitely reduces stress around audit time. So knowing that you've got all of your work and rest events, all of your reports in one spot makes the audit process really simple. And we've heard from a lot of auditors that doing an audit on a business that uses our system is a lot less stressful for them as well, which is great. Also, just the overall idea of removing paperwork from truck driver cabins is a big thing as well. So not only does our mobile app automate the driver's work and rest reporting requirements, but it also has some extra features like digital forms. So your driver fit to drive declaration and your vehicle maintenance pre-start check, you can do it all on the app without having to use pen and paper.
Thanks, Josh. You've mentioned quite a few benefits that transport companies can gain by using your technology. Stewart, what types of smartphones and tablets are compatible with Logmaster?
We've made Logmaster compatible and compliant for use on Android and Apple smartphones and tablets. So you shouldn't need to worry about purchasing additional equipment or replacing particular models to get it into your fleet. It's an app you can download, and most modern devices will be able to quickly install Logmaster. Our system makes it easy to get started with an electronic work diary right away. You can also, as an example, you can get a signature on glass filled in on a form or at a confirmation stage on most devices, and that all comes through into the portal and converts the form entry into a printable PDF report or form with a signature on there and everything that's needed for reporting at the end of the process.
Thanks, Stewart. Josh, how can drivers, record keepers, and transport companies see a demonstration of your Logmaster technology?
So all you need to do is visit www.logmaster.com.au. We've got a button there on the homepage that says book a demonstration. You can click that and select a time and date that suits, and we'll jump on a video call and walk you through how the system works.
Excellent. Thanks, Josh. How can transport companies purchase Logmaster?
So Logmaster is a tech company. We're responsible for producing the actual software and systems that make up Logmaster. In order to purchase the Logmaster subscription for your business, you'll need to get in touch with one of our resellers or our partners. And to view a full list of resellers and partners that you can purchase Logmaster from, just visit our website and click on the Our Partners button.
Great. Thanks, Josh. Well, thank you very much, Josh and Stewart, for joining us today from Logmaster Australia.
Thanks, Sharyn. Great talking.
Yeah, thank you, Sharyn. It's been really great to be here. We're really excited about the way the industry's accepted us, and we look forward to engaging with some of your target here and giving more demonstrations and keeping the road safer. So thanks again, Sharyn. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Well, that concludes today's episode about managing driver fatigue compliance with Logmaster Australia. You will find all of their contact details listed below. So join us again at Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, where we meet with our expert supplier members to discuss key business and supply chain issues, topics and trends, including logistics, supply chain management, technology, and much more. We welcome you to subscribe to this Supply Chain Partners channel, and we look forward to you joining us again in a future episode.